So this topic came about on this episode because it was something that comes up over and over and over when I talk to women on Zoom. I do these calls with women when they're interested in my 12-week program. If I talk with you in the DMs usually. If I feel like you might be a good fit, this might be what you're looking for, and I might be able to help you, then typically we jump on a Zoom call so we can talk a little bit more in depth, right? And I was on a call recently and this happened again. And it got me to thinking about how many times we have all said, "Oh, I need to think about it," or "I just need to think about it," only to end up making a decision that deep down inside we already knew that we would make, right? So let me explain. I had a conversation with a woman the other day, happens all the time too. And she said, "This is exactly what I need. This is exactly what I have to do." And then we got a little bit farther into like next steps in the conversation, like what needs to happen next. And suddenly she goes, "Can I think about it?" And here's the thing. She had just told me that she was exhausted from trying all these things that didn't work. That had been going on for years. And she had just said she was sick of feeling stuck. And she was like, "Oh my gosh, this is what I need. This is what I need. This is perfect." And so when she said, "I need to think about it," I said, "Okay, what is there to think about?" And that's exactly what I want to break down on this episode today, because I do see this pattern over and over and over. We tell ourselves we need to think about it, but are we really thinking? So hang in here with me. Are we really thinking? Or are we just stalling because our brains are wired to keep us safe, to keep us comfortable, to keep us in the same patterns, right? And I'm not saying you're stalling, consciously, but hear me out on how your brain works. So today, I'm going to show you exactly how this works in your brain, why your brain plays this sneaky little game on you, and how you can recognize it in the moment when that is what's happening, so you can stop talking yourself out of what you actually need. So let's break this down, okay? Why do we do this first? Why, when we finally see the thing we need to do, whether it's a coaching program, a job opportunity, or even a relationship, why is it that we stop ourselves right at the edge and we say, "Let me think about it"? I did it. Side note, let me tell you a little story. I did it about marrying Roger. I said, "Let me think about it," for a few years, quite frankly. And it's not like I sat down with pros and cons. I wasn't really doing thinking. I wasn't doing any thinking that was getting me closer to a decision, whether that decision was yes or no. I wasn't thinking, I was stalling. So, why do we get ourselves right to that edge, like I just said, and then say, "Let me think about it"? I'm going to tell you why. Because your brain's number one job is to keep you comfortable. It's designed to keep you in the familiar patterns, the familiar thought patterns, familiar behavior patterns. Even if those patterns are making you miserable, your brain is going to keep you in it because, in an odd way, it still feels comfortable, even when it's making you miserable. But guess what? Comfort equals safety to your brain. And change, no matter what kind of change, even good change, feels like a threat to your brain. Here's another reason we hesitate, right? Deep down, and you might have to explore a little bit and be honest with yourself. Deep down, a lot of us don't trust ourselves. And that's a big part of the hesitation for many of you. What if I don't follow through? What if I fail again like I have so many times before? And I totally get that. Hell, I've done that over and over. But what I want you to think about is this, okay? If you knew you couldn't fail, if you had a guarantee that this, whatever this is, would work for you, would you still be hesitating? No, you'd already be in with a hell yes. So when we say I need to think about it, what we're really actually thinking is, what if I waste my time? What if I waste my energy and effort? What if I waste my money? But that's fear talking. That's fear controlling your thoughts. And it's fear that's keeping you exactly where you are. And listen, when I outline all of this to you, trust me when I tell you I've done it myself a million times over. And it took quite a lot of investment in my own thinking and growth to learn how to get out of this. Now, next step in this conversation. I don't want you to think that I am telling you you should make impulsive decisions. Not at all, because there is a huge difference between making a thoughtful, aligned decision and letting fear talk you out of something that you already know that you need. All right. There's a big difference between a thoughtful, aligned decision, a good decision, and letting fear talk you out of something that you know you need. So, what does a real thoughtful decision look like? What does thoughtful decision making actually look like? Well, one, when you're making a thoughtful decision, you ask yourself clear and logical questions. Can I truly commit to this? For example, do I believe this will help me? Other kinds of questions that you ask are things that help you to consider how this and if this fits into your life. Do I want to make this a priority right now? Is this a priority for me right now? That's the kind of question that you're asking if you're truly trying to make a thoughtful decision. You'll look at long-term gain versus short-term cost, if you will, right? Things like, is this the thing that's going to get me where I want to go? Even if it takes a little work, even if there's some investment of time and money, is this the thing that's going to get me, or one of the things that's going to get me where I want to go? Those are the kinds of questions you ask when you're in the process of thoughtful decision making. Now, on the contrary, or on the other hand, when your brain is in fear mode, it looks very different. The questions are very different. For example, you get really vague with yourself and with others, right? You'll say things like, I just need time to think about this. To think about what? What exactly, right? You focus also on why it won't work. So when your brain is in fear mode, it will default to things about why it, whatever it is, won't work. What if I fail? What if I can't do it? What if I quit? Right? And you stall instead of take action. And that is when your brain starts working against you. So, a big part of what you have to become aware of is one, that this happens, that like I need to think about it, is this general, can be fear-based type of stall tactic. And then you need to be aware of how do you discern between making thoughtful decisions versus fear-based stalling. Okay. So next, how do you break the cycle? Because you're going to default to doing things this way. You're going to default into that fear-based thinking. And quite frankly, I'll be honest, you're going to continue to fool yourself with, oh, I just need to think about it. You're going to use that stall tactic. So once you become aware that this is happening, then how do you break the cycle? How do you move into making more empowered decisions? How do you intentionally move that direction? So, how do you stop the cycle, right? How do you recognize when your brain is tricking you and instead move to making decisions from a place of confidence? Here's what I tell my clients. And quite frankly, on calls with women who are not my clients, I help guide them through this process so that they can make the best decisions for themselves. So, how do you do this? How do you make decisions from a place of confidence out and rather than fear? Step one, ask yourself this question. What exactly do I need to think about? So if it pops into your head that, okay, I need to take some time to think, ask yourself, what exactly do I need to think about? Instead of saying, I need some time to think, pen it down, specifically pen it down. What are you unsure about in the process? Are you scared of failing? Are you worried about investing the money? If you cannot pinpoint, and that's just a couple of different examples of how you can pin down what it is you need to think about. If you can't pinpoint a very clear logical reason, then you're not thinking about it. You're hesitating. If you cannot point to a specific thing that you're thinking about, then you are not thinking about it. You are hesitating. So, step one, ask yourself, what exactly do I need to think about? Step two, challenge your own thinking. The next time you hear that voice in your head say, I need time to think about it, ask yourself this. If I knew I couldn't fail, would I be hesitating right now? If I knew I couldn't fail, would I still hesitate? Because guess what? The version of you who is already successful, the version of you who is finally where she wants to be, she is not hesitating. Let me say that again. Think about this. The version of you who is finally and already where she wants to be, she is not hesitating. She is already decided. Step three, take action from that future mindset. Take action based on being in that place, being her who is that future self. Take action from that future mindset. I had a woman on a call just recently who went through this exact process. Okay. Happens all the time, but this one comes to mind. She said, I need to think about it. She was all in. This is exactly what I need to do. Uh, the conversation was amazing, and I knew this was perfect for her. Joining my 12-week program, and she said at the end, she was like, okay, but I need to think about it. And so I guided her to that specificity, right? Remember? Exactly what are you thinking about? So I asked her, what exactly do you need to think about? And after we talked it through, she said to me, you're right. I just needed to do this. And later she told our success coach that she was really glad that we walked through that conversation in that way. Because if she had left the call to quote unquote go think about it, she said she would have talked herself out of it. And that is exactly what we do to ourselves in so many areas of life. But it does not have to be that way. So the next time you hear yourself say, I just need to think about it, Stop and ask yourself, am I actually thinking or am I just hesitating? Because every time you hesitate on something that you need, you stay stuck. And I don't want that for you. I know you don't want that for yourself. So, what's something in your life right now, as you're listening to this, that you've been thinking about, but you already know it's the right step? That can be with your health journey, your weight loss journey, with something that has to do with your career, or that's something that has to do with your relationship. What would happen if instead of thinking, you just did it? You made the decision and you moved forward. That's my message for you today. Be decisive. Make decisions, not willy-nilly, but on specific issues, resolve those, and then move forward. Don't let fear decide for you, because bottom line, and I'll leave you with this, thinking about it and not deciding, that's a decision. And that's not an empowered decision. So move forward without hesitating and make a decision to act. Thanks so much for spending time with me. I hope that this was helpful for you. I hope there was something that you could take away. And I hope there's an area of your life that you can implement this right now. I'd love to hear from you. Meet you right back here next time.